Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of How to Reach 2000. E4, C6, playing against a 1700. Quite a strong opponent, so let's see how the game goes. Knight f3 is not a very common move. We can respond with d5, attacking the center, and our c6 pawn defends the d5 pawn. And this move order, it's not optimal. It allows my bishop to live on the square, and I'm more than happy to take that knight. Also, I can play this move c5 to try to break open the center and develop my knight with tempo. They're playing c3, and the idea is pretty simple. They're just trying to defend the pawn. We can play knight to c6, putting more pressure on the d4 pawn. Our idea is we can eventually take and then try to get this pawn on the d4 square. Queen b6 is also an idea to put more pressure, and I'm also going to take at some point. I think this is a really good opportunity to take the pawn and then play queen b6. If I play queen b6 straight away, then maybe they have the possibility to take my c5 pawn and they have pressure on my d5 pawn as well. I don't really like that, so I'm going to take. And now I'm creating a backwards pawn for them, which is very weak. I can already try to do this and then go after this pawn. It's like a fork, but I'm going to lose this pawn. So let's play e6 so that I'm not losing this pawn. Now my center is very solid, and I can play queen to b6 now, and I'm putting pressure on this pawn. Let's see what the opponent does. Currently I'm threatening to take this knight, and they have to take with the pawn to defend this, unless if they have some tactics with the pin. A clear indication that if I take, then they're going to take with the pawn. On the other side, they're defending this pawn, so that's good. Here, I really like the plan of trying to put more pressure on this pawn, and it can get really hard to defend that pawn. So I'm going to play knight to e7. I don't think this bishop has too many good squares. If it goes to e7, it's not doing much, and also it's coming in the way. Perhaps I should have taken this knight first, because it could move now, but it is what it is. And if I play this, how do they defend the pawn? It's pretty annoying that their queen is on d2, so they cannot play knight to d2. And now I think I can remove the defender and then grab this pawn. I don't see anything wrong with it. Takes here, I don't know. I'm not sure about this. If takes, queen takes. And if takes, knight here, I take the bishop and then I move my queen. The problem here is I'm pinning myself, so it's kind of annoying. And maybe I've blundered, but I'm not sure. I think I'm okay. That would have worked if knight takes f3 is not a check, but obviously this move comes with check, so they don't have time to take my queen. And I could consider developing my bishop and offering a trade. I'm up a pawn and I have a better structure, so I don't mind trading. This gains tempo, but I can just take. I feel like moving my queen doesn't really make any sense because this bishop becomes really strong. If they play a move like bishop to g5, I'm probably going to play h6 to kick away this bishop. And I have a really nice structure, no damaged pawns, and I have a nice passed pawn in the center of the board. Here I don't really have too many options. If I don't trade, then I'm probably going to lose my bishop, so I'm going to trade. If queen takes, I'm more than happy to trade queens. Actually, if queen takes, I can even take this pawn, which seems really nice. So pawn takes is pretty much the only move. And then I can castle or I can just grab another pawn. Free pawn's there for the taking, right? So we can see the power of the Caro-Kann, especially in the intermediate to advanced level. The c5 line is very nice because most people don't know how to respond against it, and they usually end up blundering pieces pretty early in the game. Here I don't see anything wrong with taking this. I'm also threatening to take like this, and I have a nice tactic if they play something like this. I can sacrifice my queen, and if pawn takes, I take like this, and if queen takes, I do the same. That would be a pretty cool tactic to win a pawn. Of course, if they do nothing, then I'm going to take this and then win the queen. So they have to do something. And I'm also threatening knight to c4, which is a fork of the pawn and the queen. They castle, defending this threat, but now I can play knight to c4, which is a fork of the pawn and the queen. They could try to sacrifice the exchange, but I don't think it does much. They're already down a lot of material. And if they just simply move their queen away, this is also really good for me. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. This is quite a big fork actually. We're forking a bunch of stuff. I don't think I want to win this pawn because that allows their rook to get active on the b file. And they do go for the sacrifice of the rook, which doesn't make too much sense. I can just capture, and I don't see any threats that can justify this rook sacrifice. Knight c3, okay. I mean, they're activating their knight, but there are no threats. I can simply just castle. I have to be aware of the possible attack on the g file, but I think I have more than enough counterplay, and king to g2 doesn't look like they're trying to do anything on the g file. Here we have the open d file, so we might as well try to put something on the d file, and I'm doing exactly that. I'm going to put a rook on the d3 square, and if the queen stops defending the b2 pawn, I'm going to take the pawn with check. Here I can play rook to d3, putting pressure on this pawn, so if they don't defend it, I'm going to take, and once they defend it, I can double up my rooks, and this is a really nice position because I'm up 4 points of material and I have more active pieces. My queen has pressure here and my rooks are doing something on the d file. They're temporarily preventing this threat, and I'm not sure where this knight is going to go. So I'm not going to play moves like this that weaken my position too much, but also I could go for that and I can try to do this. So I'm not sure what I should do. I feel like a cool idea is to try to play this, just defend this pawn, and also I have pressure here. I'm not hanging any forks, so I should be okay. This position is pretty tough, but I think getting to the back rank is not a bad idea. So I'm going to attack the queen. The queen just looks a bit stuck. They only have two options. It's important to mention that after the queen moves away, they're threatening moves like this. I mean, that's not a huge threat because it doesn't win any material, but I would like to prevent that. After something like this, they can take and then give me an isolated pawn. But also they don't have much to do with that pawn, so I think it should be okay. Oh, actually b5 knight here. That would be kind of annoying. Maybe trying to bring my rook away, get in on the back rank. Doesn't look like a dumb idea, but also I might get my rook trapped. Hopefully I won't get my rook trapped. This is still kind of a problem, but maybe I can get away with this or even play this. Knight c3 makes a bunch of sense. They're not allowing me to play this. I'm going to play a6, preventing any knight mobility. And also if they try to trap my rook, I can even sacrifice for the knight, and I'm totally okay with it. f4, trying to attack me, but I think I'm the one who's going to get into the diagonals. So let's give in this check because that looks pretty dangerous. And we're just slowly making progress. Rook d3, activating. Creating luft is a good idea in this position. I don't want to get back rank checkmated. Okay, well that gives me this square. So why not? Let's put pressure over here. They could try this, but I'm just going to sack. I'm going to sack my rook this way. Try to get some pawns. That should be pretty good. We're both pretty equal on time, but I'm up 2 pawns in exchange. Okay, let's sacrifice, because why not? What can possibly go wrong? I'm going to be up 3 pawns, and I have really active pieces, so this cannot be that bad. What I'm going to do is just create some lift. And I think g6 is a great idea because it prevents f5. This would run into mate in 1, so they have to be very careful. And if they play moves like this, I can throw in this check and then win the queen. I don't think this is scary. Free pawn. And if b3, I could do many different things. I can take with the pawn. That might be a bit risky, so I'm going to take with the rook. Okay, the queen moves over. And let's try to expand. The queen is probably going to try to use the a file, but I'm okay with it. Pretty good idea in this position is to try to play this, pinning the rook and also threatening this check. Let's go for that. Pins go both ways, so I'm just trying to unpin myself so that I can play some rook moves. For example, I can play this. We can bring our rook back if we get attacked on the d file. Actually, we can just take this. Opponent is really low on time. I think he might flag. Okay, not really sure what I should do. I'll play h5, just kind of making him think. This is a pretty good idea. Also, I could have just taken the pawn. I did not see that. My pawn is going to promote. Now we can offer queen trade. If he doesn't trade queens, I'm going to take the pawn. And now he's going to flag. I played this game at 87.1 accuracy and my opponent played at 80.3 accuracy. It was a pretty normal Caro-Kann. This is how Caro-Kanns go at this elo. As you can notice, I'm better in this position if not winning. I win this pawn. Apparently this was not great. Maybe I should have taken with the other knight, but I didn't really see a difference. I just win way too many pawns and now I have this fork. Sacrifices the rook, which is of no use. Here I'm completely winning, but I don't see a clear plan forwards, so I didn't really know what to do. I was just improving my position and I sacrificed the rook for a pawn and a knight. I just sacrificed the exchange back and I won a pawn. I'm just controlling all of my opponent's pawn breaks and I go for this. I could have taken the free pawn on h3, but I missed it during the game. Offer trade of queens. Here my opponent has 1.1 seconds. That's not enough because I just played queen takes h3 and my opponent flagged. My opponent got an estimated elo of 1600 and my estimated elo for this game is 2050. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video.